both attempts to frame abortion care as unsafe. And again, a reminder to all the people out there who may not be well aware, like, Americans are in favor of a women's right to choose, and if this does not happen, if we don't have a easy and available right, if women don't have an easy and available right to abortion, they're going to start doing it on their own. Like, if they don't have access to abortion, they will do it in much less safer ways, much more dangerous ways, and it's going to be devastating to women everywhere, especially poor women. Like, rich white women are going to be able to get it easily, but it's overwhelmingly going to hurt poor women, women of color, who don't have the resources to be able to do it. It's going to be absolutely devastating. So that's a major thing, I think, worth watching here in this situation. So, yeah, we're going to be following that for you. Asking the Supreme Court to reconsider overturning Roe is an assault on our basic rights, plain and simple. Abortion is safe and legal, and we're doing everything we can to keep it that way. So pretty much what they're trying to do is we want to keep, this is from Johnson, the president of Planned Parenthood. Pretty much what conservative Republicans and conservative Democrats want to do here is speed up the process. They want to make things happen just a little bit faster. Like, come on here, this abortion thing, it's gone on a bit too long. Let's go. Yeah, I don't know why I had to get all mafia for that, but I guess it's just the case of the matter here. Yeah, so this is 207 members of Congress and 2 members of the Democratic Party, including 39 Republican senators, tell the Supreme Court to revisit and, if appropriate, overrule 2 key abortion decisions, which are Casey and Roe v. Wade. So they're trying to get the Supreme Court to do that. So pro-choice advocates condemn the brief, which some saw as the latest sign that President Trump's remaking of the judicial branch poses a serious threat to Americans' right to abortion care, which they're right. It really very much does pose a serious threat. Because we did the story on Red Alert. These courts have been taken over by Trump people. Mitch McConnell has cleared the logjam that he set for Barack Obama, and this will be devastating, absolutely devastating to major, major rights that Americans value and really at this point take for granted, because they're going to be cleared by the really idiotic people that Trump has put in place. All conservative, all hard right-wingers, some with very, very few qualifications, and almost all picked from the basement of the Federalist Society, where they seem to just pretty much grow these people in a vat to come out and just talk non-stop about abortion and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be absolutely shocking. I think it's going to shock a lot of people if this turns. I think it's going to really be surprising for a lot of Americans who thought like abortion was kind of a thing of the past, or debates about abortion, like the culture war on abortion was one. Like, it is very, very much a necessity to vote in people who get it, and that's obviously the Democratic Party. Like, this is an issue that is going to be an issue bubbling under the surface no matter what. Like, and it's illegal in most of the Western world already. So that is the crazy situation. I think that it's much better, even if you disagree with the principle of abortion, which I guess I get, like, especially if you're religious, whatever the case may be, like, you gotta realize that it's really a safety issue. Like, it has to be safe. Like, it should be safe. It should be available, accessible, and safe for these people to get for these women to get abortions. Like, who knows what kind of situations they were in the past? Like, it's been rough for them. Getting an abortion is not an easy decision for anybody, and the fact that it's under threat is a very, very big deal, I think. So, Lauren Rankin, a pro-choice activist, tweets, "I won't hold my breath waiting for an apology from those who said that abortion rights supporters were being hysterical when we decried Brett Kavanaugh's appointment to the Supreme Court as a possible end of Roe v. Wade, but here it is. They want to end legal abortion." Mike Crapo, Tom Cotton, Bill Cassidy, Roy Blunt Ted Cruz, John Hooven, Deb Fisher, like all these great people. Yeah. So this is what's at stake here. This is exactly what's at stake in 2020. So a number of Democrats challenging the brief signatories in 2020 pointed to the documents as evidence the anti-choice candidates must be defeated in the coming election. So let's give a shout out here to Hiral Tripirni, who is running in Arizona's 6th congressional district, a former ER doc and cancer research advocate, at least one of your Twitter bio, who is challenging Representative David Schweikert. She says, shame on Representative David for joining this effort to overturn Roe v. Wade. As an emergency physician, I've been there when women had to make the heartbreaking decision, and it should remain between her and her physician. The fact is, like, they should, the idea is that they should be allowed here to make this decision. It's very, very important, and something that, is, I think, a basic healthcare right for women if they want to be considered. That's something that I think you just gotta have, I think, as a part of a society that is livable and kind of just up to snuff in the modern, standard Western world. Come on. I'll fight to ensure women have autonomy over their own bodies. So, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Mike Larson for Congress. He is running for Congress as a progressive Democrat taking on Jim Jordan. Shout out to our good friend. Shout out to Mike Larson for Congress taking on the awful Jim Jordan. He should get a lot of support. He says, I can't believe it's 2020, and I have to say it, but Roe v. Wade is not up for discussion. I think that's a sense that a lot of liberals and a lot of people who are maybe not paying attention to politics believe. They thought, abortion's closed down. But no. The fact that conservatives have been killing in the elections of recent, Trump has been able to appoint all these judges, and has a Republican Senate, means one thing. Roe v. Wade, abortion rights, certainly very much high up for discussion. It's reporting there from Common Dreams. Julia Conley. Very, very interesting stuff also going on in the 2020 race. We are taking a look at the fundraising numbers, and I do want to get it. I would go to Common Dreams for a story like this, but I do want to go to New York Times and try and analyze. This is Shane Goldmacher and Thomas Kaplan trying to analyze their framing on this. I think it's very, very interesting to see how the New York Times is going to talk about this. So a flood of money rushed into the presidential race in the last 3 months of 2019 as the Democrats entered 2020 awash with cash and braced for a long primary fight. They're going to have to spend it, and President Trump there is going to be waiting for them with a massive, massive war chest. Although I think it's going to be more important for the primary fight almost, because whoever wins, I think the Democratic Party is going to have no trouble raising money when Bernie does win. I think he's going to have no trouble raising it from small donations. $5 million in donations passed for Bernie Sanders recently. So let's get in this New York Times article here. A flood of money rushed in the presidential race in the last 3 months of 2019, producing an unusually large number of Democratic candidates with the resources to battle deep in the 2020 primary calendar, all vying for the right to face an incumbent president boasting his own enormous war chest. The 5 strongest Democratic fundraisers are expected to report over $115 million raised in the final quarter of last year. I think Trump raised something to the tune of I don't know. He's got. We'll get to it eventually. $102.7 million in cash on hand. $46 million in the fourth quarter. So that $115 million in total for the Democrats in the fourth quarter. And they joined 2 self-funding billionaires who are pouring their fortunes into expansive advertising campaigns. And I saw an interesting tweet today that said pretty much with the power of small dollar donations, huge stuff there. With the power of small dollar donations, Bernie Sanders has matched the fundraising power of a Mike Bloomberg. And here's something that Mike Bloomberg doesn't have: 5 million people that gave it to him. 5 million people that are excited enough. And by the way, proud to say I was one of them. The last 40,000 that donated in the last day of the quarter, last day of 2019. So that is something that Michael Bloomberg just does not have. And you can buy ads, you can buy airtime, but you cannot buy support. You can't buy enthusiasm. You can buy exposure. You can't buy support. Like, that's the reality of politics. And I think that's something that people like Tom Steyer, Mike Bloomberg, John Delaney, they're finding that stuff out. Because, like, Delaney's been in there for how long? Like, he's been pushing his agenda for an incredibly long time. Hasn't really gone anywhere extremely crazy. And that's just the reality of the situation here. So, and it just shows you that you need that support if you want to go anywhere. Yeah, and Senator Bernie Sanders is pacing the Democratic field, thank you very much, announcing Thursday that he has raised $34.5 million in the last 3 months. It's like I think $8 million improvement on his last quarter, third quarter, which is typically a more active quarter because this is typically the lull. Most Democrats, I think, went up in the quarter. So shout out Bernie Sanders for a strong run. Leading the field again, Pete Buttigieg, former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, collected $24.7 million. Not all from the peeps. And funnily enough, went out of his way. His campaign went way crazy with the attempt to be like, coming up with a contest for who could donate the most times at the smallest number possible. Like, yeah, guys, you don't have to throw in that much. It's like you can just donate it like small if you want to, okay? Yeah, like, so a lot of that stuff, it comes from bundlers, it comes from super PACs, like, that is something that Pete Buttigieg, a lot of that $24.7 million is big money, and a lot of that whatever small dollar donations there is, I think comes from a smaller chunk of the pie than any other really viable Democratic candidate, except for maybe Joe Biden. Yeah, so there is that to contend with, that Pete Buttigieg does have to contend with, and something that I think should be talked about, but maybe not as much as it is getting talked about. Probably should be talked. What I mean to say is it probably should be getting talked about a little more. That Pete Buttigieg is getting a lot of the support from largely big money support, because he of course doesn't want to go in against Trump with hands tied behind his back. Which he says, again, as Bernie Sanders, with one hand tied behind his back, is crushing the field, beating Buttigieg, the next closest guy, by $10 million. Former VP President Joe Biden raised $22.7 million, his best showing of the year, getting on his billionaire Rolodex and really pumping it out. Senator Elizabeth Warren has not revealed her haul, but told her supporters in late December that she'd bank $17 million while setting a $20 million goal. A sign of how widespread the money windfall was, Andrew Yang, the former entrepreneur who was unknown nationally a year ago, raised a striking $16.5 million in the fourth quarter, more than Biden managed in the third. So shout out to Mr. Andrew Yang. And I don't think that's a very surprising situation for Andrew Yang. Like, it's not about the money windfall. It's about the fact that Andrew Yang has a broad-based appeal of grassroots support. I think he's a con man. I think the fact that he says, "Oh, I support Medicare for all," and comes out with probably the most conservative healthcare plan out there is ridiculous. It's a joke. Like, he's absolutely trying to put his name on popular progressive ideas and trying to con people, think that he's a progressive, but comes out with this BS conservative crap for his healthcare plan. Like, that's BS, but you cannot deny that this guy, he's getting popular for a reason. That's because he is able to appeal to people, like normal people. Like, he's got grassroots support. People like the guy. People like his policies. People think he's a fresh breath of fresh air. He's a new change. Like, that is something that's the main reason why people like him. It's not because the money windfall is really good. No, like he's likable. Like people like him. That's why they want to give him money online. Like